Good afternoon and welcome to the vlog for today, Friday the 23rd of January. Hope you're all good and had a good day. Seems like it's been a busy day on the CX today, but anyway, I was going to start. I just wanted to talk about vans. When I started this business, I didn't have a great business plan strategy because I had no inclination to build an empire. It was just going to be me, my van, and just going out to work. And the intention is to do this until I retire for my state pension at 67. So about 7 years in total. And what I wasn't sure about at the time was the longevity of the van that I bought. I had no idea how successful or not the business would be because I had no previous experience or real knowledge of anyone that had done it. I was relying on Pete the courier at the time. I didn't know how many miles I was going to do on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. So it's a little bit difficult to plan, but I thought maybe somewhere along the way that I would probably going to need to change vans. When I was a taxi driver, I used to change my taxi every 3 years. The day I got my badge, the very next day I went and ordered my first taxi. And back in those days of 1991, there was no such thing as lease purchase, PCP, whatever you want to call it. It was basically hire purchase, pay a deposit and make your repayments. And I was actually quite fortunate I could order a taxi and I didn't even have to pay an initial deposit. They only asked for a deposit about a week before you picked your new taxi up. But I changed every 3 years. The logic of that was the taxis came with 3-year warranty and 100,000 miles, whichever come first. And in the 3 years, you used to do about 110 to 120,000 miles. So you just went over on the mileage, but it was fine. They were quite good vehicles. And that's what I did. I changed every 3 years for about 21 of those years. And then I decided to rent. Had a health issue that made me think about investing in a very expensive, what then was becoming a very expensive commodity. And in the event that I couldn't work, I didn't want the problems of cab repayments. Whereas if I rented and I didn't need to work, I didn't want to work, I could chop the vehicle in. And then we had COVID came, which was a big saviour because at the time the garages allowed us to keep the taxis rent free. They basically, the big garages had nowhere to park these vehicles. So rather than hiring a big parking area, which was cost them a lot of money, they let the drivers have them for nothing. Anyway, that's going away from the topic. So I'm now starting to think about whether I need to change this van or not. I've had it for 2 years, 3 months. It's been absolutely fine. I've now done about 120,000 miles myself. The only repair it's really had was the clutch. So I'm now looking at possibly later in the year changing this van. My popular choices are always a Ford or a Mercedes. No disrespect to the other brands. I did drive a Citroen and then a Peugeot when I worked at Arsenal, and I wasn't a great fan of those vehicles. You may well have one yourself and you may think it's the best thing since sliced bread, but for me there was just one or two little things I wasn't quite happy about. But anyway, so I will probably look at a Ford again, or a Mercedes maybe, but I'm also going to have a look at the MAN. In the past they've not been the best vans, but they certainly changed in the truck world in the last couple of years, and they're now quite a popular brand. The mechanical side of it is supposed to be very good. Driver comfort is supposed to be very good. So, and I've looked at the MAN, I think it's a TGE they call the van, and it looks quite good. Don't know too much about it. There's a company, they are on the CX, but they don't post a lot of work, called Braketree Logistics, and they have quite a few of these vans, do a lot of distance. They do European as well. They run them. And if anybody out there who's watching this does run an MAN TGE that they've purchased in the last year or two, please drop something in the comments. Let me know what you think. The biggest issue I'm going to have with it is a dealer issue. The nearest dealer is probably going to be for repairs and servicing is at Whittam, which is about 20 odd miles away, probably about 3/4 of an hour. So that might be the only issue. Anyway, that's one for the future. On to today. It was a little bit sketchy again yesterday evening on the CX for work in my area. There was a job that was sitting there for a little while, and then I put a price on it, and it was a job going from Ipswich for 9 o'clock this morning to Harrow, Middlesex. Harrow, nearest landmark would probably be Wembley Stadium. The job was, I'm trying to think, I didn't write this down, I think it was bang on about 100 miles, and I put a price of 120 on it, and it took a little while, but I did get a phone call in the end. I think they may have been hanging out for a better price, but anyway, got the job. So it was for 9 o'clock this morning. I had been there before. It's a transport company, and the pallets, I was picking up 2 pallets, they were coming down on an overnight pallet service. So I say I've been there before, I know how this works. They need to unload those trucks first, then load their own vehicles up for them to go out on delivery. So 9 o'clock was probably going to be about the time that I got touched. Did get there for 8:30. Went into the office, they said, yeah, we're busy, go and wait in the van, we'll get you as soon as we can. And I think I was off site literally 8:55. So, yep, okay, no problems at all. The plan had been to come back down the A12, M25, A1 to get to Harrow. But on the way up, there was either an accident, I think, or maybe the lorry had blown a tyre and it had left himself in a sort of, not jackknife position, but he was certainly blocking one lane, and the queue was miles and miles and miles. So once loaded, I decided I'm going to stay on the A14, go down the A11, M11, and that way. Added a little bit of time on, not too much, and I was on site for about 11:20, off site for about 11:30. So okay with that, no problems. Quick look at the feed while I was getting unloaded. There was 2 jobs not too far away, one from Northwest 10 going to Basildon, job I have done before, and I put a price of £60 on it, which is the price I got before. Didn't get that. And there was another one from Northwest 2 going to Dagenham, similar thing, small van, that one, I put £50 on that, didn't get that. So I didn't want to hang around in Harrow. I made my way to Waltham Abbey. That's quite a good area. I can just go backwards if I need to towards Enfield. I can go down to the A12 and A127 for sort of Brentwood, Basildon, that area. If at Waltham Abbey, I can cut around the back to get up towards Epping and Harlow. Gives me options. Got there for about 12:15, and again, like the other day, I thought I'm going to give this till 2 o'clock. Now, a couple of things. I got a phone call from a shipper yesterday afternoon. He said, I know you don't work Saturdays, but I know you had said to me in the past that you might do a Saturday if it's local. And he had a job to pick up to 6 o'clock on Friday from Colchester to go to Hatfield, Middlesex, for delivery 8 AM Saturday morning. Paid £90, long wheelbase, I think it's about 55 miles, the job. And a couple of things my wife and I need to do. One, we need to pop into somewhere in Braintree, and another one, the bottom side of Colchester. And I took the job because I thought, well, we can get this job, she'll come with me, which she is going to do, get this delivered at 8 o'clock, and then do those 2 little jobs on the way back home, and we'll still probably be back home for about 11:15. So I'd already got that little job lined up. Also, with £90, that was going to add on to today's money. So if I didn't get a second job today, then I've still had a decent figure for the day. 2 o'clock was just about coming. I was just about leaving Waltham Abbey to make my way back up towards Colchester to go and pick that job for delivery tomorrow up. And another little job come up from Colchester going to Saxmundham in Suffolk, which is just north of Woodbridge. It's about 47 miles, about an hour to get to. I'm not doing that now, actually, just recording this video. Got £60 for that. Actually sat in the CX for a while. Obviously couldn't cover it. I did tell them I'm going to be about an hour away from collection. They was fine with that, and it's going to a building site, so I should be there for about 4:30, so there should be someone on site, and it's only where it's a very small consignment, it's basically a box, so there shouldn't be any issues there. And then I'll come back and get the Colchester loaded for tomorrow morning. So overall, it's been a good day. I can classify that as 3 jobs: 120, 60 and 90, so a total of 270. So yeah, that's a good day for me. Working tomorrow, I won't include that as a day from a point of view of expenses. It'll be a 5-day week. Yeah, so all good. The CX did seem to be busy today. There was lots of jobs when I was looking. A lot of them, none of them were good, any good to me. They were going too far west or southwest, southeast, and I had to bear in mind I had this pickup in Colchester, so I didn't want to do anything to jeopardise that. Or they were going into central London, which I didn't want to do. Or the number of prices I did quote, I wasn't getting. There was a job from Loughton, 2 vans actually needed from Loughton to go to Southend, and long wheelbase, 3 pallets on each, and I put £60 on that, about 40 odd miles. Didn't get either. I was only 20 minutes on the collection. And then I remembered I actually did this before, and I think I only got £40. I think it was one of those I bid, and then it was reposted at £40, which is really too cheap, to be fair. But I think I did it on that occasion because I'd only done 1 job, and it wasn't, you know, the end of the world to do a job for £40 on top of what I already had. But in this occasion, I didn't get it, and I'm not overly fussed. I'm happier with the job I did get to Suffolk. So anyway, I'm going to call it a day there. Hope you have a good weekend, and we'll talk again on Monday. I have already won a job for Monday, so we'll talk about that then. Anyway, have a great weekend, take care, all the best. Paul.